Okay, just see if my microphone works. Okay, it does. I'm gonna mute that there. Oh, where am I? No, I don't want to do that. I want to do that. Okay. Hello. I am coming in with something a little different. The evolution of you. And I'm going to be recording it here in the group as well as sending it out as a podcast. This is something I've been talking about for ages, and April is the time, maybe. So I wanted to talk about the energy of April. And you may have been noticing, as well as me, how this feels. We stepped into a new year in numerology, and I actually enjoy this sensation more than the new year in January. Just January feels very forced sometimes, especially after all the stuff of Christmas and everything there. So sorry, I'm just trying to keep an eye on Facebook as well. So, well, and honestly, I like the April New Year because it's attached to my birthday. I just had my birthday this weekend. And so, yeah, there's a lot of excited energy there. But we have moved into the energy of one with April. And one, well, one is the loneliest number, but one is that spark. If you imagine, starting a fire, getting things going takes that one little spark to get everything moving. And so one is full of potential and new ideas and inspiration. And there's a lot of planning that goes along with one. One has the ideas, and you may notice yourself making lists and just running through all the possibilities with your ideas. So this is a great invitation to think about, what do you want to grow this year? And I'm a gardener, so I do literally think about, what do I want to grow in my garden? And you can also think about, what have I been growing that maybe I want to remove from my garden because I don't like it anymore, or it's finished, that season is over. And allowing yourself some space to daydream about all of this. So, daydreaming in a bigger way, allowing yourself the space to just take off all the rules around possibilities and, what would I really love to be doing? Where would I love to be in a year? Who would I love to be? Who would I love to be around? All of these possibilities, just letting yourself brain dump and see what comes up for you. And again, without those restrictions of like, well, I can't have that because, well, rather than saying without the restrictions, noticing what restrictions come up for you. Well, I can't have that because, I don't have time for that, or I don't have the body for that, or any kind of rules that your brain wants to, like, whoa, don't start planning that because it's not going to work. That's your inner self, your protective self, trying to stop you from trying something new because it doesn't want you to be disappointed if it doesn't work out. And that's a great thing to be aware of is also noticing when you've made plans in the past and nothing happened. Have you done this process before where you're like, oh, yeah, this is the year, this is it, and I am going to start a new career, or I'm going to try this new sport, or whatever big thing you thought about in the past with your New Year's resolutions, and nothing happened? Why? What blocked you? Because you had the big idea. There was that excitement. There was that, that buzz in your body around this idea. But then when it came into the actual implementation of the idea, what got in your way? And going back into gardening, because I love it, that's when the work has to happen, right? You can't, I'm just thinking of the mess I have outside in my yard right now. I couldn't walk outside right now and toss in some lettuce and carrot seeds and we're good to go. There is some preparation that needs to happen before I can even start the planning, or start the planting rather. So in gardening terms, that would be like clearing the soil and getting rid of the old plants and maybe bringing in some compost or supplementing my soil, things like that. So what does your dream, your idea need in order to have that prepared soil, right? If one of your big ideas is to go on a trip, maybe it's time to look at the calendar and see how that works. I know that was something for me this year that I have allowed to let get in the way before with family trips, because I have a blended family. So it gets a little complicated when I go to plan an outing. It doesn't involve just like, okay, let's jump in the car and go. I have to check in with my teens' dad, and I have to check in with my stepson's mom, and I need to check in with my parents and everyone else to make sure we're all actually available and that all the calendars are aligned in order for us to go on this trip. So when you kind of work backwards from your big dreams, what needs to be cleared out of the way before you can start implementing these things? If you have a new workout plan, for example, is there space in your house to do this? How can you get that started? Do you have the clothing that you need in order to do this activity? Do you have a plan to follow, or a coach or a buddy that you can do it with? Same with, changing up your eating habits rather than saying, okay, this is the year that I'm going to eat. I'm going to cook more meals at home. Well, that involves some planning, right? Because we don't know what's in the kitchen. You can't just imagine that this is magically going to happen. There's planning that has to happen. So this is happening all through this month of April, is this energy of like, what do I want to create? And so I really encourage you to let these ideas percolate. Have paper around, or if you're a notes on your phone kind of person, I do a little bit of both personally. I have a whiteboard, I have my journal, just be aware also, because I do this. Don't get stuck in planning mode, because sometimes, and especially because I'm a ruling 10, so I love coming up with new ideas. you can get stuck in that mode of plan, 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 plan without ever actually getting out of the gate, right? Like you made the shopping list, but you have to actually get in the car and go to the store at some point. You have to actually set aside the time to put on the new shoes and go for a run. You have to actually put the next plan in motion. So, again, when you notice any limiting beliefs that spring up as you're making the plans, these are those little weeds that want to say like, it's, today's not the day to go for your run because it's raining. Like anything that wants to keep you in the current state you are, because even if you don't really like the current state you are, you're safe because nothing's going to change. This is a big part of what I use my tapping for, is to acknowledge like, okay, yeah, I'm making these plans with that future me in mind, and letting my nervous system know that, yes, I understand maybe that future me feels really far away, and these changes can feel scary, but making the changes, the steps as small as possible so that your inner self, that protector self, feels like, okay, we're not going to go for a 5-kilometer run the first time. We're just going to go and do a walk. We're just going to get our shoes on. We're just going to get out the door and move little by little so that it doesn't get too scary and overwhelming for your inner self. And that's the same with any kind of putting plans into motion, is keeping them small so that the actual implementation doesn't feel so overwhelming that like, ugh, I'm not going to do that again because it took me too much to get into this. It's kind of why I'm stepping forward and doing this podcast this way. I made some notes and I didn't do any scheduling. I'm just going to wing it and do it this way so that I'm not kind of putting up my own barriers by, well, I have to do this, 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 and this before I can actually do the thing. Writing out your goals, writing out who that person is, who is making these steps. So I am becoming a person who puts these steps into their life because I want to feel this way. And you can put your goals into an affirmation in the in the positive, first of all. Meaning like, you don't want an affirmation that says, I'm not doing this anymore. No, it's, I am doing the thing, or I am a person, or I am anything. I am not, I'm not, because the universe just hears the after part of the sentence rather than the I'm not, if that makes sense. So first of all, yes, in the positive and in the present, rather than saying in 6 months I'm going to be, it's like, no, I am a person who feels this way and does these things because I love myself completely, because I value my body, because I value the life that I live and the life that I am creating. So thinking about how to put your goal into an affirmation and attaching a feeling to it so that you begin to practice, feeling the feeling while doing the thing, instead of having that belief that I'll feel it once I get that done. Sorry, sometimes my mind just shuts off for me, but just allowing the journey to be the experience instead of another task to get done. So this is my challenge for you, today is to do a little brain dumping, do a little exploring around what and who and how, and not the how of how am I going to get it done, but how do I want to be? Daydream, play around with it, share with someone the big dreams that you have for this summer. And I would love to hear from you. So, yeah, there you go. That's the one energy today and this month. And this is how manifesting works. So, allowing the idea to come in and start playing around with what it means to you and what it's going to initiate for you. All right. Thanks so much. And I will be back with more. All right. I'm going to attempt to stop.